Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
And now, live from the TCL broadcast studios, it's Joe Souchere and Patrick Reusse with Sports Talk.
Well, not so fast. It's still Kolls with Patrick from down in Florida. He's down in Florida, right? He's with us today.
I'm in Florida.
Yeah,
Sure, I'm in Florida.
Thank God you're there.
I am in Florida. What do we got going on back home?
Patrick, I got to tell you.
Snow coming or what?
Yeah, I got a blizzard, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, I told Dahl, I said, if it's going to get that bad between 3 and 4, I'm out of here at 3:35. I'm not
2 to 4 inches tonight, a little bit more tomorrow morning.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then 5 to 10 inches, he says, on Saturday.
What?
Not at your house.
Well, I'm never there, right? That's an old joke that we know.
I know.
I would say, he said 5 to 10 inches by the end of the day Saturday. Yep.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, and
This
I think
is probably that 25-degree heart attack stuff, too, right?
yes, big sloppy, heavy
not
stuff.
the cold stuff. Okay.
How's your weather, Patrick?
It's cloudy today.
Unseasonably cool.
Unseasonably
No, it was
cloudy.
about 87, but it
Wow.
was cloudy. It was very disappointing.
Hey,
The sun's come out now, though.
could you guys help me out with something? Because you left me on Monday, I think it was, when I had to get into work to the editorial meeting. It was you, Kenny, and Joe, and Reavers, the whole gang, and Rookie. You guys were talking about 2 Germans tangled with a mannequin.
Oh, God.
Wait.
In a toy car.
A toy car. But the unanswered question was, how do you get tangled up
Jay,
with a mannequin?
I want
to know how.
I went out and bought a 6-foot by 6-foot
Yes.
dry erase board, and I worked through the night, and there's no possible way. I cannot figure it out. There's no way.
Was it like the scene out of A Beautiful Mind?
Yeah. I got all these figures and drawings and then arrows and dot over to here. And nothing computes.
You guys left me, and I had to go into the meeting, and I'm like, that's the greatest question of the week. How do you get tangled up, entangled in a
you got to
mannequin?
find out what size the car is, too.
Well,
What
the
size
mayor's
cars?
question
Yeah.
of what role does the toy car play was the key question.
See, I'm convinced there was a camera mounted on the car. They were just using the car to move the camera around to get different angles. But I watch a lot of internet videos, so you know.
That's the best. That's the best theory yet. I couldn't figure it out.
Just think, 25 years ago, you could have gotten away with that.
Yeah.
And then maybe, remember Steve Harvey's weird, the other Steve Harvey, the weird stories that used to appear in the newspaper? From around the world, there'd be like
News of the Weird.
Yeah.
It was called
News of the Weird, but it
News of the
only
Weird,
run
yeah.
like once a month.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was like 2 years late half the time. So, these guys probably would have, they would have gotten on to something else by the time. But now, 2 days later, the world knows you were in a toy car with a mannequin and another guy.
Right away. I mean, before you even get home from the hospital, your mom's calling you going, armor? Suit of armor? What?
I don't think it's fair.
Hey, Reusse, restarting right now is last night's gold medal hockey game. Did you watch any of it? Did you watch the ladies?
I watched a little bit, but I fell asleep.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, it was good.
The end of that game was so cool. That Lamoureux girl. Which one scored it? Was it Monique?
Monique got the game tire. Jocelyn had the shootout goal you're talking about.
Yeah, Jocelyn.
She
Wow.
wrapped it around her leg 3 times.
Patrick, it was voodoo on skates.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that.
I've seen, they've replayed it like 700 times.
Yeah.
The winning goals.
And every time I see the winning goal, I fall down. It
is wonderful.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
It is wonderful because 2 days ago, the shootout is not fair. It's no way to decide a hockey game.
You're right.
It's terrible.
Unless we win.
It's awful. This was the greatest shootout ever. It was great.
Yes.
These girls deserve the goal.
You're so right.
Hey, Kenny, I don't know if you caught any of the beginning
Americans are jackasses.
Yes, we are.
We are. We're just
Proudly so.
We lose. we lose to the poor Czech Republic, only half a country in a shootout. That's not fair.
Yeah.
And then we, the biggest country in the world, and we beat Canada in a shootout. And, it's great.
We cleaned your clock, losers.
Hey, how about some of those Canadian chicks taking off their medal, though? What a bunch of losers.
What was that all about? Just because
I saw the quote from one of the girls, and she said she was just so upset, and she wasn't playing for second, and she wanted to win. And
Yeah,
as soon as
but-
she got off the ice, one of the Olympic officials made her put it back on and said, "You don't have any choice. You have to wear it." And she sounded apologetic, but she was really, really brokenhearted.
Well, she's a snot and should be banned from the Olympics.
I was talking to Kolls before the show, Patrick, and half the girls on that Canadian team, they skated for UMD.
Yeah. They did.
These two teams literally have been in the same locker room together for years.
A lot of them are still teammates.
And a lot of them, Jay, didn't they start together as little kids?
That's what Reusse was mocking me earlier today because I started the show. And Patrick, you can appreciate this. My daughter Madison played with 7 of the girls on the U.S. team. Yes.
Wow.
But 3 of them, if you can imagine this, they started at U12. So when Madison was 10, 11, and 12, 3 of the U.S. women, Amanda Kessel, Brianna Decker, and the backup goalie Alex Rigsby, were on Madison's U12 team.
Wow.
Madison's
that wasn't at Shattuck already.
No, that was down with the Madison Capitals.
Okay.
And so on that U12 team, if you can imagine a little league team, they had 17 girls, all played Division I. 3 of them ended up winning the gold medal last night. And then she played with Sydney Morin at UMD, Maddie Rooney at UMD, Laura Schuler, the head coach of the Canadian team, was her assistant coach at UMD.
Wow.
So I told Reavers, it dawned on me when the game started. Oh, hey, I've got some emotional connections here. And the former daughter-in-law is Monique Lamoureux.
Right.
I was at her wedding.
You were at her wedding. Yes, you were. So I had the sweaty palms.
I was nervous when I met Dad. But,
and you should still be nervous.
Well, Jay, how many from both teams actually went to Shattuck, too?
On last night's game, I want to say there were 5 Shattuck alum. 5. But Madison only played with Kessel and Decker at Shattuck. But because some are a little bit older. But I told Reavers, I said all of a sudden it felt like I was watching my daughter again because I know all these kids since they were 10 and all their families. So I got juiced up about it.
But it's the whole thought of the fact that it didn't dawn on you until the game had started.
That's pretty
you
much
had you had an investment.
You got to know, Jay.
Let's face it. Olympic hockey, women's hockey, they should just have U.S. and Canada play best of 5.
Yeah,
best of 5, right? Yeah. Just make it like a playoff series.
Jay, have you talked to Maddie today? Is she at all disappointed or bummed out, or does she feel left out that she's not on the team?
No, because she wasn't good enough.
Oh, really?
No, she wasn't good enough. But
she'll admit that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, to get to...
If she won't, her dad will admit it for her.
Right.
Wow, I can't believe what you're saying, Dad.
No, she wasn't good enough.
It's nice to hear. It's refreshing.
Yeah, she was not good enough. But she was invited to try out, and Patrick knows how these levels go. It was U17, U19. She was invited at the U17 age to try out for the national team. One of, I think, 17 defensemen, and she got cut, and then she never got invited back. So she, at one point, was kind of in the mix, but she didn't work as hard, and she didn't train as hard as as the rest.
Is that because her last name is Kolls?
Most likely. Pretty much. And so she never, I don't think.
That makes me love her even more.
She is a great kid, and we shouldn't take advantage of her just to needle the old man.
You know what? You're
even by our standards.
I apologize to Madison because you're 100 steps ahead of your old man.
Even by our standards,
you're smarter, you're funnier, you're more
better looking,
everything.
She likes girls like I like girls, so God bless her. So.
Okay, Dad.
Well,
okay.
You know what I'm saying.
Dad.
So, anywho, Patrick, I was invested in it last night.
Oh yes, I was. I wish it would have started it. I had Eastern time, fellas. That was another thing. They didn't drop the puck till 11:05. I hung in there as long as I could, but I went down to Mickle Bob's and ate ribs last night. I had a big belly full of ribs. I couldn't stay awake.
It's like eating sleeping pills. Pat, did you see any of the men versus Canada, the curling this morning?
No, but they must be good guys because Lavelle told me he drank with them a few months ago. He ran into him in some bar in St. Paul, and they had a few cocktails with him.
That was fun and exciting,
this
too.
Team, everybody was mad at these guys when this thing started, right? And now they're playing for the gold medal.
Monumental comeback is what they're going on right now.
Yeah.
I told Kolls earlier, I said, there's one thing I want to do if I ever go to Olympics, and that's party with the winning curling team because those guys know how to have a good time.
Where's Schuster from, Duluth?
I think so.
I have no idea. But
we've written a lot of stuff about him in the Star Tribune.
There's no way you can match those guys drink for drink. You just let them go at their pace.
Right, and I just sit back.
And you go at the civilian, non-professional pace.
But you know what? I was reading a bunch of my friends in Canada stuff. They're much more upset about the curling than the women's hockey.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
The women's hockey was, okay, well.
How about the two-fisting husband? How's he taking it?
Are you talking about beers? Or
yeah,
what?
that guy is incredible.
Ooh, scared me a second.
By the way, is there any more game in America, more wholesome in America than baseball? Baseball. You remember James Earl Jones' speech about baseball?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, the Twins were taking BP.
Oh, no.
20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I saw this tweet.
We had a rap song, which the N-word was flying.
Yeah.
The euphemism for intercourse was flying.
Oh, boy.
Now, the fans were still outside, but it was so damn loud you could have heard it in St. Paul. I don't know if this is the vibe we want to give off here for the grand old game.
Yeah, you're right. That's not family friendly.
I was offended, for God's sakes.
Oh, Burt Lancaster's character out of Field of Dreams wouldn't have liked it, right?
No.
Remember he played the Doc. Was it Doc?
I don't think I had to go in and give my Al Green speech in the press box. As a matter of fact, if this country still listened to Al Green, we wouldn't have any problem.
Well, you'd think that they would be aware of this and not do that.
Well, they let the players choose the music.
Oh, in the locker room maybe, but not when there's fans right out the gate and they could hear this.
Well, I don't know.
Really quick, because I know we got a break. When I was running the Chanhassen team, Patrick, we had a lot of fans that would show up for a nice Sunday matinee ball game, and I let a couple of the younger guys pick the songs during BP. And as I'm watching somebody's kindly old grandmother, saying, like, we might want to turn down the tunes, fellas.
Yeah,
same exact situation.
Grandma pulls off her wig, throws it on the ground, and stomps out of there.
All right. See ya.
Quoting now from Pat Old Number 9 Reusse's Twitter account. Extremely graphic rap tunes playing during Twins' early BP. We had N-words flying and intercourse euphemisms used as an adjective. Gates not yet open, but it was blasting. Let me just favor and retweet that right now. And we're playing this Marvin Gaye for you, my friend.
That's actually Al Green. That's Al Green. That's
I'm sorry, Al Green. I'm sorry.
And so now all is right with the world, right, Pat?
Yes, there you go, Kenny. It just popped up on my phone here, retweet. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm sure.
So you're one of the rare coworkers that Kenny hasn't blocked, unlike me.
Well, Reusse leaves me alone.
We're co-owners of the Krabby Coffee Shop.
That's true.
Yeah, and we never talk. So
we have a business to run.
We get along fantastic.
That's exactly right.
Oh, man.
So, you know who's the starting pitcher tonight for the Gophers at 6 o'clock?
Nope.
Jeff Fashing, son of St. John's football coach Gary Fashing.
Really?
Okay.
And if Gary and his wife flew down for the game, I'm going to have him on at 4:15 and talk about 5:15 here, 4:15 there. But that's got to be a tough job. You're coaching a college football team, and you still got to run all over the country to watch your kid pitch, right?
At least it's nice weather where he's got to run all over the country.
Yes, that's true. They may never get back.
No.
I wonder if they realize that.
So explain the spring training situation for the Gophers. I can't imagine being in school they can be down there that long. Do they train right here indoors?
we have pretty well taken care of all that stuff with mass tutoring. They're here. They were last week. They were in Georgia and went home.
Wow.
And or they might have stayed. I mean, this might be what they used to call the spring trip. And they're here. They're here another week, and then they go home and start playing in the new dome, the Taj Mazzigi. They're in there for pretty much the rest of the spring.
So. Well, you know what they used to do when Madison played hockey for UMD, and sometimes they would take a swing out east or whatever and be gone for 2 weeks. Nowadays, professors give them everything online, and they got to take care of it every day as if they're in class on the road online, and that's how they stay with it now. So they can be gone all the time now.
If you're a men's basketball team or football team, they just do the test for you. So.
Right.
You don't worry about it. Just sign this, and you'll be
come
fine.
back and collect your B+. Make sure it's only a B. Make sure don't put in too good a paper.
Everybody knows you're a dum-dum. There's no way you could get an A.
What's the A+? No way. That's good.
You can't flunk out anymore. It's virtually impossible.
Yeah.
They got it all taken care of.
Challenge accepted.
I was gonna say I tried and I couldn't flunk out myself. I even tried hard. Didn't work.
Well, I went 100 years ago, and I was doing fine until I took astronomy. Because I never opened a book. I figured, what the hell? You got stars, you got to know the difference between the star and the moon. Right. They wanted you to know stuff. I had no shot. And I was sitting next to my desk was next to a prominent Gopher football player who was there the first week. First day, and I never saw him again. And he was still playing.
Wow. That's the way to do it.
Yes, that's true. That was back when they didn't have TV courses and the whole damn thing. So anyway, but yeah, we by the way, we're playing very gentle music now as we let the people in here.
Yeah, it almost sounds like you're in a cafeteria.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to close the gate here because this game is actually on local radio and television tonight. The Twins have a guy named Stassi. Stassi. That would have been a tough name to have if you lived in East Germany. Here comes Stassi.
Everybody be in their basement.
Those were the secret police, right?
Stassi. The Stassi, that's an old Nazi. I
got to ask this kid what his grandpa did. That's what you run into an Argentinian who's got like blonde hair and stuff, and you say, "What Gramps do?"
No, I've got a chance.
What Gramps do for a living?
I got a chance to ask you and Reavers this. Now you got the Twins who signed one guy, right? Odorizzi.
No, they signed 4.
They signed a couple.
Oh, did they?
They signed 3 relievers and then 1 decent starter.
Okay, so it's them.
They traded for.
Is it them in Cleveland then in the Central?
Yes,
that's it, right?
Pretty much.
Everybody else stinks, correct?
No, it's Cleveland, then them.
Okay.
Then the other 3 teams.
Gotcha. So maybe a wild card.
There's a gap between. Yeah, same as last year. Maybe I would bet.
And the beauty of
a
lot
season, of things went right last year.
And the beauty of a season like this, Jay, now in Major League Baseball, you've got half the league that's basically trying to lose throughout baseball.
Not that much, but
because
a third maybe.
Trying to lose because.
Well, that's the new formula for how to build a competitive baseball team.
Because Houston. Jay had like the worst team in the league for 3 years, and then they won a World Series. And the Cubs never got that bad, but the Cubs never reduced their payroll that much. But the Cubs kind of used the same formula too. So
because the Royals were hot there for a couple of years, right? Won it all, and then now where are the Royals now? Are they any good?
They're going the other direction. They just dropped a bunch of players. Yeah, they're going back to cutting budget.
Huh.
But there's enough money in the industry now that these guys get revenue sharing checks, and they're not by not drawing by drawing 500,000 less people, they're still making some money.
And Reavers tells me we got to go make some money. We got to take a break.
Yes, we do.
We'll be right back.
And let's head out east and get the Your Money Now report. It comes to us courtesy from Federated Insurance down in Owatonna, Minnesota. From the Wall Street Journal, here is Bruce Vail with Your Money Now.
And for the second straight day, stocks rallied early today, but this time the market held on for some gains. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 164 points, closing at 24,962. The Nasdaq Composite did drop 8 points, and the S&P 500 picked up just 2 points. The housing market is so tight right now that almost 2/3 of house hunters have been searching for at least 3 months. That's according to a new survey conducted by the National Association of Home Builders. It includes people looking for both new and previously owned homes. About 42% of those surveyed said they couldn't find a home they could afford. 36% said they couldn't find a house with the features they wanted. Insurance company The Hartford will donate $700,000 in grants and educate about 500,000 kids on the importance of fire prevention and safety. The money will go to the 100 cities with the highest home fire risk, according to the company's Home Fire Index. Minneapolis is on that list, so the city will get $20,000, with half going to a local fire department and half to a public school district. I'm Bruce Vail with your Money Now on 1500 ESPN.
Here is Mr. John Height with a sports update.
Thank you, Patrick. Cloudy and 29 degrees in the snow. I just looked at the radar. Right there. It's coming.
Where's it coming from? Where should I be watching?
Coming
south.
It's coming from the south and the west.
Ooh.
Okay,
When
so
it
if I
comes
go
from
down
this-
to...
Uhas tweeted out a picture, Kenny, of Sioux City, Iowa, and the traffic down there is already pretty unbearable.
When it comes from the south and the west, it's mushy.
Yes. The heart attack snow.
Yes.
Wild back in action tonight, continuing an East Coast swing. They are playing New Jersey.
They got no chance. They're going to be so hungover they can't breathe. They've been in Manhattan for 2.5 nights.
They got back-to-backers. They got one tomorrow night, too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, maybe we'll be refreshed by then. But
The Rangers, right?
Yep.
Jersey tonight? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you know they haven't been sober in 48 hours.
oh, God, no.
Twins baseball action today.
They
down
probably
there.
are in little toy cars with mannequins running around Manhattan.
Suit of armor.
Twins baseball action today down where Patrick is. Not against a major league team. They're playing the Minnesota Gophers. We do have one Twins roster note. They've placed JT Chargois on outright waivers, apparently to make a spot on the 40-man, huh? I would assume.
Yeah.
For Chris Archer.
Somebody coming in. Chris Archer. You know who doesn't want the Twins to get Chris Archer?
Ooh.
Judd and Mackey and all the people who have been screaming for him to get Chris Archer. Because then what? Okay, but this still isn't enough. They still got to get one more.
I don't know if you were able to catch the Scoop podcast section today on Mackey and Judd Show, Patrick.
No,
but
I missed that.
Doogie was dropping bombs left and right.
Oh, really? Scoop bomb?
In fact, when he was asked about Chris Archer, he said,
I know I'm in here to give you answers. I don't have that answer yet.
That's genius right there.
Doogie,
That's what
please,
that
God,
is.
never change.
Kenny, I have offered Judd and Mackey
Yeah.
$300 cash apiece for Doogie and the guy from, Randy from
Cottage Grove.
You just want to
$300
buy
a
him
piece.
for your show.
Yeah, I want to buy him for my show.
Yeah.
They can't use him.
Yeah, that's not a bad move.
Hey, Doogie, really quick. I know the Vikings, they got to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback. What do you think they're going to do with Case Keenum?
Maybe they franchise Case. Maybe they don't.
Patrick, you could literally, and you know this, and maybe that's why you want him, you could ask him a question and literally get in your car, go home, fix lunch, come back, and he still wouldn't be done talking. Seriously, I've never heard him take a breath, ever.
Yeah.
When I was a copy boy at the Star Tribune, the outdoor guy was a guy named Jim Peterson, the Grinder, they called him. Jim the Grinder. It was a kind of a euphemism for how hard he worked, because it was
Yeah.
it was
Like
kind
calling
of
it
the opposite.
a guy slim.
But the Grinder used to go home.
The Grinder.
on his lunch book, on his lunch break, like 6:30. He'd go home for lunch, for his half-hour lunch. He'd cook a meal. He'd watch a movie on TV, and he'd come rolling back in about 10:15.
boy.
And the best part is, Grinder was a big fella, and they had the pneumatic tubes back then.
Sure.
Oh,
You know,
right, sure.
And he'd go downstairs and do the makeup when there was still hot metal. And Bob Sorensen was the guy running the desk, and they'd call up and say, "We need the Grinder." And Bob Sorensen would say, "He's in the tube." And he'd say, "Go get him, Grinder." It was great.
Well, Doogie's not lazy, is he? I mean,
No,
he's a real go-getter.
He's
and
crazy.
And don't get me wrong, I love him. I love a guy that can talk for 45 minutes straight. That's every guy's dream in this business.
News
He
notes.
cannot be stumped.
No.
News notes from today. Police said today one of the 2 people of interest in connection with that lockdown yesterday at Orono schools was found not to be associated with the incident yesterday. Authorities confirming 1 juvenile taken into custody. He faces terroristic threat charges. Police said the investigation remains open as investigators look into additional charges for the suspect. The second person of interest was interviewed and cleared. Police say they are no longer seeking suspects.
One of them was was the guy
Correct.
making the threats in the school?
That's correct.
Inside school.
He was during the whole lockdown. The guy that they are charging with terroristic threats was in the school.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. He must have thought his classmates would really think he was a funny guy.
Wayne LaPierre, the head of the NRA, broke his silence a week after the Florida school shooting today with a defense of gun rights and an aggressive attack on what he called political elites who hate individual freedom. LaPierre used his address to the conservative conference CPAC to hit out at an anti-gun campaign. He said that campaign led by young survivors of the shooting have attempted to make political headway in the last week.
LaPierre, those damn 17-year-olds are political motivated.
LaPierre also hit out at the breathless national media, his words, which he said was eager to smear the NRA in the midst of genuine grief. He said elites want to eliminate our firearms freedoms and eradicate all the individual freedoms. They hate the NRA, they hate the Second Amendment, and they hate individual freedom. It had been unclear whether LaPierre would appear at the conservative conference outside Washington. The NRA often prefers to stay out of the media spotlight in the wake of any shootings.
Hey, Doogie, how often are you asked questions, whether you're here at the radio station, on social media, or maybe out in the public?
I mean, am I asked a lot on social media, out and about? I mean, I'm at Hy-Vee the other day. A guy asked me about the Vikings, asked me about the Wolves. Are people asking me? Desperate times, desperate measures.
That's an old one.
I know.
That is.
Hy-Vee one.
It's one of my favorites.
Nothing better when Doogie asks himself a question and then answers himself. I love that. It's so
That's
awesome.
the most depressing one he's ever had, though, because I go to the Hy-Vee.
Yeah.
I go to the Hy-Vee. I've been working for 50 years in the media. Nobody's ever said, ask me a question. Nobody ever. The same Hy-Vee. Never asked me a question.
I was at Hy-Vee last Friday. Nobody said
Nobody
anything.
said
Not
a
word.
thing.
I go to the Tom Thumb on my neighborhood. The Muslim guy goes, "You still doing that dumb traffic job?" He has no idea what radio station I work for or any of that.
Not sure if this is something to be proud or afraid of. Doctors in India recently operated on what they say could be the largest brain tumor in the world.
How big?
The
At
patient?
least it's not a goiter. Usually you have goiters.
Goiter. Even that word is bad. Goiter.
I know, but you love a goiter story.
Have you seen what's a goiter look like? I mean, is it
It's just a big glob
Big
on your
bump,
head.
right?
is it hard or does it jiggle like a belly?
I don't know. I never had one.
Does
I
it
don't
grow
want one.
hair?
And I don't want to hear about it.
Does it grow
I
hair?
don't want to hear
Do you have
about
to
it.
shave your goiter?
Well, this fella is 31-year-old Santlal Pal, who had been living with a large mass on his head for 3 years before the surgery.
Does it jiggle like a belly?
The tumor weighed 4 pounds.
Wow. Oh, my.
Bigger than his own head.
Oh.
That according to Dr. Trimurti.
So it's the size of like
Nadkarni.
a Halloween
So
pumpkin.
was it on the outside? Then,
It was
John?
on the outside, yes. I saw photos. It
Well,
took-
why didn't he go see the doc when she got to be
Well,
about 2
good
pounds?
point.
Here's the deal. 3 different docs
2
told him.
pounds, that's your cutoff.
Three different docs told him it was inoperable. So he had to go to a fourth who finally said, "No, I can do this."
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
hack
we'll
that thing off. Get in
Yeah,
here.
we'll get it off. Come on.
So they
We
did.
might have to give you a local anesthetic.
Right.
But beyond that,
So
it'll be good.
the other 3 doctors said, "No, we can't
Can't
touch
do it. Yeah.
No, they didn't. They're like me. They don't like that stuff.
Yeah, that's gross, pal. Get out of my office.
They think Pal will be okay. There is one problem. One eye right now, he has no vision, but they think that will come back. So they think
You
he'll
know
be
what?
fine.
I would trade losing the vision in one eye
Yeah.
for getting rid of a 4-pound tumor on my head.
Doc,
Yeah.
could you take
I'd make
this?
that deal.
Take this.
You can have
second
an
head
eye,
off
Doc.
you.
Yeah, but I mean, what a conversation starter. What's that there? Oh, it's my goiter.
Goiter. Chevy Chase recently tracked down a truck he says cut him off, but when he tried to confront the driver, he ended up getting booted to the ground. All of this according to a police report. Chevy Chase claims he was traveling over the Tappan Zee Bridge in New York when a black pickup cut him off. He told cops he thought the truck had hit his car, so he flashed his high beams and followed till the driver of the pickup pulled over.
Chevy obviously doesn't hear Joe's Federated ads.
Apparently not.
He needs to calm down.
According to the police report, Chevy realized there was no damage to either vehicle, but approached the driver to, quote, speak to him about his reckless driving.
Oh, boy, what a mistake.
Yeah, there were 3 people in the truck. At that point, one of them flipped him off, and Chevy says he fired back, saying, if I were a lot younger, I'd bust your nose.
Oh,
well,
that's tough.
At that point, one of them got out and kicked him in the shoulder so hard he fell to the ground.
Yeah.
According to the police documents.
Kicked him in the shoulder.
Yeah, I know. That's when I saw the story, I thought the same thing. Huh. According to documents, the pickup driver claims Chevy tried to throw a punch first, and the alleged kicker was just blocking his fist with his foot. Cops cited the fellow who kicked him with second-degree harassment. There was a third-party witness who, according to cops, pulled over because he didn't, quote, want to see an old man get his ass stomped.
Wow.
Chevy is being a little arrogant there and should have just let her go.
Yeah, he's always been arrogant. But, Patrick, the worst thing you can possibly do is get out of your car.
Don't get out of your car.
Don't get out of the car. You're in for an ass kicking.
I just give him the 2 hands up. Up in the air.
I'm sorry. I'm a dummy.
I'm old. What the hell?
I had my blinker on.
I just looked up goiter.
Yeah.
There's a classy spelling you can use to make it sound better. It's Goiter, but you can make it RE, which makes it a lot classier.
Oh, goitre.
Really?
Goitre.
Oh, it's French.
Goitre.
I have a goitre.
So if I ever get one, I'm going to have a goitre.
Oh, nice.
All right. Okay.
I don't think any of us are going to do this in the near future. In New York, a cook, 53-year-old Reusse Figueroa of Brentwood, said he scored a top prize on the $2,500 a week for life scratch-off game. That means he earns a minimum guaranteed payout of at least $2.5 million. But he waited a month before collecting his prize because he didn't want to let down his employer.
Oh, what a loser. Oh, jeez.
Vela Figueroa said he didn't want to ask for any time off since he knew he'd be quitting soon, and he said he wanted to have time to train in his replacement.
Well,
that's
a nice
noble.
guy. What a nice guy.
Yeah.
Cook said he actually...
You wouldn't trade in the new traffic guy, Kenny?
Yeah, on the phone from home.
Hey, pal, you're only allowed to call me from noon to 1.
Vela Figueroa said he had only partially scratched the ticket he bought from the Bay Meat and Deli in Bay Shore when he asked the clerk to scan it to make sure it was a winner. He told me it was a winner, but it was a little bigger than I thought. We all got back in the car and headed to work. Everyone was happy for me, but we had to get back to work. The big winner said he's thinking about using his jackpot to buy a house and possibly start his own
So they're
business.
selling lottery tickets at a meat market?
Oh, yeah, you can get them.
Sure.
That's I didn't know that you can get them at a meat market.
I love this country.
Yes. Give me, you're kind of like the guy in American Graffiti ordering there.
Yep.
Give me
exactly.
a pound of burger, 6 weenies, and a couple of lottery tickets.
In Great Britain, elderly care home there has hired pole dancers to keep its residents entertained.
Are they oldsters?
Toad. I just remembered the name. Toad.
Oh, Toad, right.
Toad.
Here it is.
Yeah. Let me have a 3 Musketeers and a ballpoint pen, one of those combs there, a pint of Old Harper, a couple of flashlight batteries, and some beef jerky.
Oh, God.
That comb over there.
I haven't watched that in a long time.
Oh, it was a great movie.
It was. Remember when he got beat up by the guys? And the blonde says, do you need any help? Oh, all I can get. Toad.
Candy, what was her real name?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I don't know.
She didn't have Candy Clark or something like that. She didn't have much of a career.
No. The care home, anyway, has hired pole dancers. No, Kenny, to answer your question, they're not.
Oh, okay.
Old. I saw some photos.
You're out then?
No, I'm just wondering what this does to the old person's heart when you've got a 20-something-year-old writhing around on the floor and working the pole.
Pictures from the latest performance showed residents watching the dancers acrobatically spin around a metal pole in sports bras and panties. It's been branded by local city council members as, quote, inappropriate. They said they were staggered by the choice of entertainment, but the bosses at the Fairmill Grange home in Christchurch, Dorset, defended its decision to hire the dancers. Izzy Nichols runs the place. He said relatives and residents requested more modern-style activities. Residents were given several choices of activity and specifically chose for a local pole dancing company to perform. Katie Henry is the owner of Pole Dance Factory and Pool. They provide the dancers. She said her dancers are just providing another form of entertainment. She said, yeah, it's a bit different, but she added there are different styles of pole dancing. The style performed at the Grange was gymnastic and to music from the 1950s and 1960s.
Oh, so it's not pornographic in any way, then?
It's, well, the pictures I saw, they were in bras and panties, basically.
Yeah, so it's not like Hurley, Wisconsin, where there's guys in miner hats and flashlights and all of that.
It's not like a scene from the Bada Bing in Sopranos.
Yeah. They don't bring their kid. He's not sitting at the bar.
Oh, God.
Mommy shift's almost
Kenny,
over.
I know you don't support the gun movement too much here, the anti-gun movement, but you do love Mr. Dave Hill just like I do.
I do. What Dave say?
I'm admittedly kind of drunk right now, but what if, just as a proof of concept, we picked a few states that have reasonable gun control and let the rest remain completely nuts and then see which ones wind up with less dead kids after 2 years?
Yeah. This is a hot issue,
Yes,
and there's no middle ground at all. I mean,
no, there isn't.
Nobody's talking about trying to solve this. They're just shoving each other's ideas at each other. There's no middle ground. We gotta find a middle ground on this.
But you still got to admit, Kenny, Dave Hill's 10 minutes on the bidet in Asia was still the greatest 10 minutes of radio in Twin Cities
so fun.
history.
Yeah, he is so good.
Didn't it almost get you guys fired?
Hell, it almost got us renewed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Driver's dash cam in Taiwan captured the moment. You got to search this out on the internet.
Okay.
Captured the moment a gigantic boulder fell from a cliff and came within inches of crushing the vehicle.
Wow.
It looks like something you'd see in a Hollywood movie, like it's computer generated.
Yeah.
The video filmed Tuesday on a highway next to a large cliff shows the driver traveling behind a large truck. Suddenly, a huge boulder falls from the cliff, breaks on the ground right in front of the filmer's car as he slams on the brakes, narrowly missing, crashing into the rock.
Yeah, I did a drive last summer out in the Rockies, and I got to tell you, there's nothing that moves your pace along, Patrick, when you see the falling rock sign, and then you see rocks all over. It's like, I'm not gonna delay here.
No, I'm gonna hammer down.
I'm gonna keep going here. Yeah.
In Pennsylvania, a middle school canceled classes after a student who said he was sleepwalking was found inside the building at 2:30 in the morning. State police said the seventh graders called 911 around 2:30 to report he was inside Wendover Middle School in Hempfield Township. Told authorities he'd been sleepwalking and woke up inside the school.
I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this.
I don't buy sleepwalking as a concept.
That's right. It's not real.
You've expressed that before, I remember, Patrick.
It's all BS. It's excuses. It's excuses for criminal behavior.
The 6-year-old tried pulling this one off about 3 or 4 months ago after he saw it on a cartoon. And
So he's walking around with his arms straight
he's
up.
got the one eye peeked open like, I wonder if mom and dad are paying attention. Get your butt back into bed, kid.
Police say the student entered the school through a window and wandered around for about 15 minutes. He lived about 4 miles from the school.
Oh, I'm not buying this. Reusse right. This is fraud.
The Hempfield Area School District canceled classes yesterday due to security concerns after the incident.
What?
Police swept the building. The district said the incident is not connected to another student's arrest earlier this week for threatening another student there. Classes did resume at the school this morning.
All right, Johnny, that was spectacular. We have an action-packed show today. Gary Fasching, the St. John's football coach, I figured he might be here because his son, Jeff, is starting for the Gophers tonight, and I don't know if they just flew down, but he said he'd be getting to the ballpark.
So not only did he not pick St. John's, he picked baseball over football.
Yeah, that is interesting. And then at 4:40, Carly Wagner, who's trying to lead the Gophers to the NCAA tournament. for the first time in her 4-year career, and they should make it, even though they got beat by Indiana, right?
Yes.
And then we got John Anderson, the Gophers baseball coach, who we actually talked to earlier because the game will be started by the time we have him on. But we had a nice conversation with John. And then Natalie Darwitz, 3 times U.S. Olympic hockey player, now the Hamlin hockey coach. Never was able to beat the godless Canadians, and I'm sure she was a happy young woman, a young mom at midnight or so last night when the actually, was it after midnight? When, 1 o'clock?
It was,
in the
it was like
morning?
1 o'clock in the morning.
1 o'clock in the morning when the U.S. won the hockey game. We'll be back momentarily.